The space around Proxima Prime filled with ships. It was the largest gathering of vessels ever seen in the galaxy. That Khorlani had brought their entire remaining fleet, over 200 warships. They were determined to end the human threat once and for all. Facing them was the combined force of Earth and its allies. 87 human ships with their adaptive shields and specialized weapons. 62 trellis vessels with advanced stealth systems. 43 ships from the Vox, small but fast, and smaller numbers from the Krell, Malorians, Pax, Gormak, and Ventari. In total, just over 200 ships stood against the Khorlani. Admiral Hayes addressed all Allied vessels before the battle. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for freedom across the galaxy. The Khorlani believe they have the right to rule all other species. Today we prove them wrong. Captain Olivia Scott and the ESV Defiance led a special strike team. Their mission was critical: disable the Sunbreaker weapon that the Khorlani had brought to the battle. If they failed, the weapon would be taken to Earth's solar system next. All strike team ships, stay close, Olivia ordered as they approached the massive Khorlani flagship that housed the Sunbreaker. We need to get Dr. Garcia's counter-signal to the weapons control system. The main fleets engaged in a massive battle. Ships fired from all directions. Explosions lit up space like 1,000 suns. The Khorlani fought with perfect formation and discipline. The Earth Alliance fought with creativity and courage. The trellis ships used their stealth to slip behind Khorlani lines and attack from unexpected angles. The Vox vessels darted between larger ships, causing confusion. Human ships used all the tactics they had learned over years of hard fighting. Admiral Hayes watched the battle unfold. Now, he said when the moment was right, broadcast the message to all Khorlani ships. The message went out on all Khorlani frequencies. It showed the faces of every human and allied commander as they spoke in unison. You chose war. Now we'll show you how it's won. At that moment, the human fleet executed a maneuver that seemed chaotic, but was carefully planned. Ships moved in seemingly random patterns that confused Khorlani targeting systems. Allied vessels slipped through gaps in the Khorlani formation. Meanwhile, Olivia and the strike team fought their way to the Khorlani flagship. The Defiance took heavy damage but pressed forward. 3 strike team ships were destroyed, but the others continued. We're in position, Olivia reported, sending the counter-signal now. Inside the Khorlani flagship, the counter-signal reached the Sunbreaker's control system. The weapon's status lights turned from green to red. The Khorlani commanders tried desperately to restart it, but the weapon was locked down completely. Ryan Ellis's sacrifice had made this possible. With the Sunbreaker disabled, the Earth Alliance pressed their advantage. The Khorlani formation began to break. For the first time, the aliens showed signs of panic. Their ships are retreating, reported John Miller from his command vessel. Their formation is falling apart. 3 hours later, it was over. The Khorlani fleet was defeated. 67 of their ships had been destroyed. Another 45 were captured. The rest had fled or surrendered. The Khorlani High Command, for the first time in their long history, asked for peace talks. 1 week later, Samantha Wright stood before the Khorlani leaders. Behind her were representatives from Earth and all the allied species. We accept your surrender, Samantha said. All conquered worlds will be freed. The Khorlani Confederation will be disbanded, and your weapons will be destroyed. The Khorlani High Commander looked shocked. You would not enslave us as we would have done to you. No, Samantha replied firmly. That is not our way. But know this, Earth and its allies will guard the freedom of all species. If you ever threaten another world again, our response will be swift and final. As Samantha spoke, Earth ships patrolled the skies above the Khorlani homeworld. It was Earth's final warning. The galaxy had a new defender now. The war was over. Earth had survived, and humanity had shown the stars what they were truly capable of when threatened with extinction. The Trellis spy moved quietly through the shadows of the Khorlani Central Command on their homeworld. His blue insect-like body was perfect for this mission. Trellis could naturally change their color to match their surroundings, making them excellent spies. For centuries, the Corlani had used this ability to make Trellis serve as their scouts. Now that skill was being used against them. The spy reached a secure data terminal and connected a small device that Earth scientists had created. It began copying files instantly. 3 minutes later, the spy was gone, leaving no trace of his visit. Back on Earth, Samantha Wright received the stolen data with shock. They're building a weapon called the Sunbreaker, she told the emergency council meeting. It can destroy a star. They plan to test it on our sun in 2 weeks. The room fell silent. If the Corlani destroyed the sun, all life in the solar system would end. Earth would become a frozen rock in darkness. Can we stop it? Admiral Hayes asked. Dr. Garcia studied the technical details. Maybe. The weapon works by creating an artificial wormhole inside a star. The star's own energy then tears it apart from within. How do we destroy this weapon? Asked General Martinez. We can't attack it directly, Dr. Garcia said. It's at the center of the Corlani homeworld, their most protected planet. But the plans show a weakness. The control codes must be entered manually before firing. If we could get those codes. Commander Ryan Ellis volunteered immediately. As leader of Earth's Special Forces, he had done many dangerous missions. None as important as this. I'll take a small team to the Corlani homeworld, Ryan said. We'll get the codes and transmit them back. Then you can create a counter-signal to disable the weapon. Everyone knew this was likely a suicide mission. The Corlani homeworld had defenses no human had ever seen. The chances of Ryan and his team returning were almost zero. I need 5 volunteers, Ryan said. No one will think less of you if you don't step forward. Every Special Forces soldier in the room stood up. Ryan chose the 4 he knew best. They began preparing immediately. Using a captured Corlani shuttle, and with help from their Trellis allies, Ryan's team approached the Corlani homeworld disguised as a supply ship. The Vox had provided fake authorization codes. It was enough to get them past the outer defenses. Remember, we need those control codes, Ryan told his team as they landed in a remote area. Nothing else matters. While Ryan's team began their dangerous mission, Samantha Wright continued diplomatic efforts. She contacted 3 more species in the Corlani Confederation who had shown signs of wanting freedom. The Pax, the Gormak, and the Ventari. The Corlani are planning to destroy Earth's sun, she told their representatives. Today it's our star. Tomorrow, it could be yours. Help us stop them. All 3 species agreed to join the alliance against the Corlani. Their ships would be vital in the coming battle. Back on the Corlani homeworld, Ryan's team fought their way through heavy security to reach the control center of the Sunbreaker weapon. 2 team members were killed in the process. Ryan and the others kept going. We've reached the main control room, Ryan reported over a secure channel. Beginning data transmission now. As the control codes transferred to Earth, alarms blared across the Corlani facility. Ryan and his remaining team members were surrounded. The data is sent, Ryan told Earth Command. The mission is complete. Those were his last words before the transmission cut off. Dr. Garcia received the control codes and immediately began creating a counter-signal. It would disable the Sunbreaker's firing mechanism remotely. Ryan's sacrifice won't be in vain, Admiral Hayes said as Earth prepared for the final confrontation. The Corlani think they can destroy our home. We'll show them what happens when you threaten everything humans hold dear. Earth forces and their alien allies gathered at Proxima Prime, where intelligence said that Corlani fleet was assembling. The final battle was about to begin. General Paul Martinez stood before a holographic map showing 12 Corlani worlds. These were key military bases, shipyards, and supply centers. Around him, 30 high-ranking officers from Earth and allied species watched carefully. Operation Thunderstrike begins in 48 hours, Paul said. For the first time, we attack the Corlani Empire directly. Not just one target, but 12 at once. The plan was bold. Earth and allied ships would hit all 12 targets at the same time. The Forlani, used to fighting on one front, would not be able to defend everywhere at once. Speed is essential, Paul continued. Hit hard, destroy the targets, and leave before they can organize a response. Captain Olivia Scott listened carefully. She had served under John Miller for years before taking command of the ESV Defiance after Miller was promoted. Her ship would lead the attack on Xorlani Base 7, one of their largest military installations. The Defiance has been upgraded with all our latest technology, Olivia told her crew as they prepared. Adaptive shields, oxygen weapons, and sonic disruptors. But our greatest weapon is surprise. Across the solar system and beyond, ships gathered secretly, human vessels with their new technology, trellis ships with their advanced stealth systems, Vox saboteurs who had placed explosives on Forlani defense platforms. Even the Krell and Malorians provided ships for the attack. Dr. Garcia and engineer Patricia Daniels had created a special virus for the mission. It would disrupt Forlani communications, making it harder for them to coordinate their defenses. Upload the virus to all ships, ordered Admiral Hayes. It needs to be launched at exactly the same time at all 12 targets. 2 days later, Operation Thunderstrike began. Earth time 600 hours. The largest military operation in human history. The Defiance led 8 ships toward Xorlani Base 7. They appeared suddenly from hyperspace, catching the Xorlani completely by surprise. Before the aliens could respond, the virus hit their systems. Their communications failed. Their automated defenses went offline. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Olivia ordered. The Earth ships split into 3 groups, each targeting specific parts of the base. The battle was fierce. Xorlani ships scrambled to defend, but they were disorganized without their communications. The Earth forces, trained to operate independently, pressed the advantage. Similar scenes played out across the other 11 targets. At Xorlani shipyards, trellis vessels destroyed half-built warships. At supply centers, Vox explosives detonated, causing massive chain reactions. On military bases, Earth's new weapons caused chaos among Xorlani troops. Not everything went perfectly. Earth forces suffered losses too. 3 ships in Olivia's group were destroyed. At other targets, Allied vessels were damaged or lost, but the attack achieved its main goals. By the time that Xorlani could organize a proper response, the damage was done. Earth and Allied ships jumped back to hyperspace, leaving destruction behind them. When the reports came in, Earth's leaders were amazed. All 12 targets had been hit successfully. 7 were completely destroyed, the others severely damaged. And most importantly, 23 Xorlani warships had been destroyed, more than in any previous battle. This changes everything, Admiral Hayes said as they reviewed the results. We've shown them we can hit anywhere in their empire. On the Xorlani homeworld, the High Command was in chaos. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced a species that could strike at their core worlds. More troubling, their subject species were in open revolt on dozens of planets. The High Commander demands explanations, a senior Xorlani officer told his subordinates. How did the humans coordinate such an attack? How did they know where to strike? But there were no good answers. The rigid Xorlani military structure, so effective against conventional enemies, was failing against human creativity and adaptability. We need to end this quickly, the senior officer said. Prepare the Sunbreaker weapon. If the humans want war, we will show them true destruction. What the Xorlani didn't understand was that humans weren't fighting because they wanted war. They were fighting because they refused to surrender. And that made all the difference. Major Nickel Weber stood in front of a large screen, studying images of Xorlani society. After 8 years of war, humans had collected enough data to understand how the aliens thought and lived. Nickel's job was to use this knowledge as a weapon. The Xorlani value order above all else, she explained to her team. They follow strict rules. Lower ranks never question higher ranks. This is their weakness. Nickel had created a special unit for psychological warfare. Their mission was to confuse and frighten the enemy, to make them doubt their leaders. "We can send fake orders that contradict each other," said one of her team members. "Make their commanders look incompetent." Nickel nodded. "And we can share information with the conquered species in their empire. Show them that resistance is possible." Her team began broadcasting messages to planets under Sorlani control. The messages were simple. Earth is fighting back. You can too. That Sorlani are not invincible. On a world called Maris, the native people heard these messages and began to sabotage Sorlani mining operations. On Talax Prime, another conquered species cut off food supplies to Sorlani bases. Small rebellions sparked across a dozen worlds. The Sorlani High Command was shocked. Nothing like this had ever happened before. They had to split their forces to deal with rebellions while still fighting Earth. "They're making mistakes," Admiral Hayes said during a strategy meeting. "Their ships are out of position. Their responses are slow." Colonel Bennett pointed to a star map showing recent Sorlani movements. "Look here and here. They're leaving key supply routes unguarded to deal with the rebellions." Earth forces took advantage of these mistakes. Small, fast ships attacked Sorlani supply lines. The aliens lost more ships and resources each week. They became desperate and aggressive, which led to even more errors. On the captured Sorlani scout ship that Earth scientists had been studying, Dr. Garcia made an important discovery. He found records of the aliens' psychological evaluations of humans. "They think our emotions are a weakness," he told Samantha Wright. "They can't understand why we keep fighting when logic says we should surrender." Samantha smiled. "They don't understand that emotions can make us stronger." The Sorlani saw humans as illogical and unpredictable. They couldn't understand why Earth soldiers would sacrifice themselves to save others, or why civilians would risk death to share information with resistance fighters. Two alien species secretly contacted Earth with offers to help. The trellis, who looked like tall blue insects, had been under Sorlani rule for a century. The Vox, a species of small, furry beings with 6 eyes, had surrendered to the Sorlani only 5 years ago. "We've been waiting for someone like you," the trellis ambassador told Samantha. "Someone who fights back." The trellis provided maps of Sorlani defense systems. The Vox offered to sabotage Sorlani ships they helped maintain. With these new allies, Earth's chances improved. Nickel Weber's psychological warfare campaign grew more effective. Her team created confusion in Sorlani ranks by sending false orders and spreading rumors that high commanders were secretly making peace with humans. "The Sorlani society is rigid," Nickel explained to Earth's leaders. "When doubt enters their system, it spreads like a virus." Some Sorlani ships began to ignore orders. Others fled rather than fight. The once perfect military machine was breaking down. Admiral Hayes saw the opportunity. "It's time to take the fight to them," he said. "We've been defending for 8 years. Now we attack." Earth's leaders agreed. The knowledge and technology gained over years of hard fighting, combined with the new allies and the Sorlani's growing confusion, created a chance for victory. "The Sorlani started this war," John Miller said, "but humans will end it. Not just for Earth, but for all the species they've conquered." The time had come for humanity to show the galaxy what they were capable of when pushed too far. 3 years had passed since the Battle of the Kuiper Belt. Earth had won more fights, but the war dragged on. The Sorlani still had more ships and better weapons. But humans had something the aliens didn't understand: creativity and determination. On a small moon orbiting Alpha Centauri, Earth had built a secret base. The gray, airless moon was perfect for hiding. Sorlani ships rarely came this way. The base was built underground, with only a few small entrances visible from space. Dr. Lucy Reyes walked through the main lab of what was called Project Prometheus. Around her, 50 scientists and engineers worked on different projects. All had the same goal: to create weapons that would target specific Xorlani weaknesses. "The oxygen sensitivity test is working," said a young scientist, showing Lucy his results. "We can make a gas that will slow them down without harming humans." Lucy nodded. "Good. Add it to the list for Captain Ortiz to test." Frank Ortiz was the captain of the EDS Retribution, a new type of Earth ship. It was smaller than most warships but packed with experimental weapons. Frank and his crew tested each new invention in real combat situations. "We leave in 6 hours," Frank told his crew as they prepared for their next mission. "Our target is the Xorlani shipyard in the Ta CD system. We'll test the new oxygen weapons and the sonic disruptors." The Retribution's mission was dangerous. They would fly into enemy territory, attack a shipyard, and escape. Many such missions had failed, but each one, successful or not, taught Earth forces something new. The attack went better than expected. The oxygen weapons worked perfectly, making the Xorlani slow and confused. The shipyard's defenses were strong, but the Retribution was fast. They destroyed 3 ships under construction and damaged many facilities before jumping to safety. Back at the secret base, Admiral Hayes met with Captain Ortiz to review the mission. "The weapons worked," Frank reported, "but we found something else too. We picked up strange signals during our escape. They weren't Xorlani communications. The signals came from a nearby planet that the Xorlani had conquered years ago. The native species, called the Krell, were still alive and fighting a secret resistance against their Xorlani rulers. Samantha Wright led the first contact team to meet with the Krell. The aliens were tall and thin with rough, bark-like skin. They had fought the Xorlani for 20 years from hidden bases. "We can help each other," Samantha told the Krell leader. "Share information, coordinate attacks." The Krell agreed. Soon, Earth was in contact with 3 other conquered species who were still resisting. The Krell, the Vex, and the Malorians. All had valuable intelligence about Xorlani bases, ship movements, and weaknesses. "The Xorlani aren't as strong as they seem," John Miller said during a strategy meeting. "They control many worlds, but they're spread thin, and their subjects ate them." The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message. The Xorlani had sent a communication to Earth, offering a ceasefire. "They want to talk peace," Samantha said, reading the message. "They promise to leave our solar system if we agree to stay within it and never expand to other stars." Everyone looked at each other. After 8 years of war, peace sounded wonderful. But Colonel Bennett was suspicious. "Why now?" he asked. "They were winning for years. Now that we're hurting them, suddenly they want peace." Lucy Reyes had the answer the next day. Her team had intercepted and decoded Xorlani communications. "It's a trick," she told Earth's leaders. "They're building a massive fleet behind Jupiter's moon Europa. The peace offer is to make us lower our guard." Admiral Hayes nodded grimly. "Then we'll give them a surprise of our own. If they want to play dirty, they'll learn that humans wrote the book on deception and warfare." The next phase of the war was about to begin. Earth now had allies, new weapons, and most importantly, the will to win. Patricia Daniels wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked. The underground lab was hot and crowded with equipment. For 3 months, she had studied the pieces of Xorlani shield technology that Earth forces had collected from damaged enemy ships. "Try it now," she said to her team. They stepped back as she activated the device. A blue glow spread over the test area. Patricia fired a standard Earth weapon at it. The shield absorbed the blast. Then she fired a Xorlani weapon. The shield absorbed that too. "It works," she said with a tired smile. "Our first adaptive shield." Until now, Earth ships had been easy targets. Xorlani weapons cut through Earth armor like paper. But Patricia had done something the aliens thought impossible. She had created shields that could learn and adapt to enemy weapons. The Xorlani were creatures of habit. Their weapons and tactics rarely change. Humans, however, were always trying new things. This difference was becoming Earth's greatest advantage. Admiral Richard Hayes looked at the 3D map in the war room. Colored dots showed the positions of Corellani ships near Pluto and the Kuiper Belt. The aliens were building something big out there, probably a base to launch more attacks on Earth. They expect us to hide and defend, he told his captains, so we'll attack instead. His plan was bold. Earth's fleet was smaller and less powerful than the Corellani ships, but the new adaptive shields might give them a chance, and the Corellani never expected humans to be aggressive after years of losing. The Battle of the Kuiper Belt began at 400 Earth time. Admiral Hayes sent his ships in small groups. Some attacked head-on, while others circled around from different angles. The Corellani responded with their usual tactics, forming a perfect battle line. "They're so predictable," Hayes said from his command ship. "Break formation now." Earth ships scattered in all directions. The Corellani line turned to follow the largest group, leaving their flanks exposed. Hayes sent his fastest ships to attack from behind. The new shields worked better than anyone hoped. They absorbed the first hits from Corellani weapons, giving Earth ships time to fire back. For the first time, the battle was almost even. The deciding moment came when Hayes ordered 5 small ships to ram a Corellani cruiser. It was a move so reckless that the aliens never saw it coming. No species they had ever fought would sacrifice ships this way. The cruiser exploded, taking 2 more Corellani ships with it. By the end of the day, Earth had destroyed 14 Corellani ships while losing 7 of their own. It wasn't a total victory, but it was the first time humans had inflicted more damage than they suffered. Back on Earth, the news sparked celebrations. People needed hope, and Hayes had given it to them. 2 weeks later, Earth forces captured a Corellani commander. After careful questioning, the alien revealed something surprising. "Your species confuses us," the commander told Samantha Wright. "You keep changing your tactics. You take foolish risks. You sacrifice pieces to win games." "That's how humans fight when our survival is at stake," Samantha replied. "The High Command calls you unpredictable and dangerously creative. These are not compliments in our culture." Colonel Bennett laughed when he heard this. "They think like machines. We think like, well, humans." The Corellani response to their defeat was to send more ships and increase attacks on Earth cities. But something had changed. They were making mistakes. Their perfect formations had gaps. Their timing was off. "They're rattled," John Miller said during a strategy meeting. "They don't know how to handle an enemy that keeps surprising them." Dr. Garcia nodded. "Their society prizes order and predictability. We represent chaos to them." "Then let's give them more chaos," said Admiral Hayes with a grim smile. "Let's show them how humans really fight." The tide was beginning to turn. Slowly, painfully, with great sacrifice, humanity was learning how to win. 5 years passed since the day that Corellani attacked Earth. 5 years of hard fighting and heavy losses. Humanity had not surrendered, but the war was not going well. 3 more cities had been destroyed. Millions were dead, yet people fought on. Dr. Alan Garcia hadn't slept in 2 days. His lab under the Rocky Mountains was one of the few safe places left for research. On his table lay something precious: tissue samples from a dead Corellani soldier. The alien had been killed when its ship crashed in the Arizona desert last month. "I think I found something," Alan said to his assistant. He pointed to his screen where strange cells moved under the microscope. "See how they react to the oxygen levels. They hate it." Earth's air had more oxygen than the Corellani were used to. It didn't kill them, but it made them uncomfortable. It was a small thing, but in war, small things mattered. Elsewhere, Lieutenant Kate Summers and her team prepared for a dangerous mission. They stood in a small room, checking their weapons and special suits. These suits would hide them from Corellani sensors. "Remember the plan," Kate said to her 5 soldiers. "We get in, take what we can, and get out. No heroes today." Their target was a Corellani scout ship that had landed in northern Canada to collect samples. Intelligence suggested only 4 aliens were aboard. Kate's team had the element of surprise. The mission went better than expected. They caught the aliens off guard, killed 3, and the 4th surrendered. More important, they captured the ship intact. "Get everything you can," Kate ordered as her team downloaded the ship's computer. "Every bit of information helps." The captured ship and its data changed everything. Earth now had Sorlani star maps, communication codes, and battle plans. Scientists learned that the Korlani had conquered 23 other species across the galaxy. Each time, they followed the same pattern: offer protection, then attack when refused. Colonel William Bennett studied these findings at Earth Defense Headquarters, a former missile silo in Wyoming. He noticed something important. "Look at this," he said to Samantha Wright, who had become head of alien intelligence. "None of these conquered planets fought back for more than a year. We've held out for 5. Samantha nodded slowly. "They don't know what to do with us. They expect quick surrender." "Exactly," said William. "And here's something else strange. Their tactics haven't changed much in 5 years. It's like they don't adapt." This was crucial information. Humans were good at adapting, at finding new ways to fight. The Korlani seemed to follow rigid patterns. Captain John Miller, now commander of Earth's small space fleet, used this knowledge in the Battle of Mars. Instead of meeting the Korlani ships head-on, he split his forces into small groups that attacked from multiple directions, then quickly retreated. The aliens, used to formal space battles, became confused. For the first time, Earth destroyed more Korlani ships than it lost. Dr. Garcia made another discovery by studying the captured Korlani. "Their society is extremely hierarchical," he explained to Earth's leaders. "They cannot make decisions without checking with superiors. Their chain of command is their weakness." Kate's team captured more Korlani technology in the following months. Engineers began to understand how their weapons and shields worked. Earth couldn't match their technology yet, but they were learning. "We need more time," Samantha told the Global Defense Council. "Every day we survive, we learn more." John nodded in agreement. The Korlani thought this would be easy. They expected us to be like the others they conquered, but we're not. "No," said William with a grim smile. "We're human, and we're just getting started." The Korlani had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked a species that refused to give up. And now, that species was learning how to fight back. The day the aliens came was like any other day. Blue skies over Houston, where Captain John Miller prepared for what would be humanity's most important mission. He stood in front of the mirror, straightening his uniform one last time before heading to the launch pad. "Captain Miller, 5 minutes," said the voice through his room speaker. John took a deep breath. After 20 years in space service, he would lead Earth's first official meeting with an alien race. The Korlani had sent messages for months, promising friendship and knowledge. Now they waited in orbit for Earth's representatives. On the other side of the base, Samantha Wright reviewed her notes. As Earth's top diplomat, she carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. Her simple blue suit was chosen to appear non-threatening. She tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear and gathered her tablet. "This is history, Sam," she whispered to herself. "Don't mess it up." The ESV Defiance wasn't the biggest ship in Earth's fleet, but it was the fastest and most advanced. As John and Samantha boarded with their team of 12 specialists, they shared a look of nervous excitement. "Ready to meet some aliens, Captain?" Samantha asked with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "As ready as anyone can be," John replied. "Let's hope they're as friendly as their messages." The journey to the meeting point took 3 hours. The Korlani mothership was massive, at least 20 times the size of the Defiance. Its surface gleamed with a purple-black metal unlike anything humans had created. "They're hailing us," said Communications Officer Gray Powell. "Text and audio." "Put it through," ordered John. The voice that filled the bridge was deep and melodic, speaking perfect English. "Representatives of Earth, we welcome you to this historic meeting. Please dock at the indicated port. We await you with peaceful intentions. The human delegation entered the alien ship through a long tunnel of the same strange metal. The air inside smelled slightly sweet, like cinnamon. 7 different alien species stood waiting in a large circular room. The tallest ones, clearly the Horlani leaders, had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were wide and black, without pupils. "Welcome," said the tallest one, stepping forward. "I am High Commander Zex of the Torlani Confederation. We have waited many cycles to meet your kind." Samantha stepped forward. "I am Diplomat Samantha Wright, and this is Captain John Miller. We bring greetings from all people of Earth." The meeting seemed to go well at first. The aliens showed the humans incredible technology and promised to share medical knowledge that could cure most human diseases. But then came their offer. "We would like to formally invite Earth to join the Confederation," said Zex, "as a protected species." "Protected?" asked John. "What exactly does that mean?" "It means we will guide your development. Your military will be dismantled. Your resources will be managed by the Confederation. In return, you receive our protection and technology." Samantha's diplomatic smile froze. "I'm afraid that's not acceptable. Earth wishes to join as an equal partner, not as a subject." The room temperature seemed to drop. The Corlani exchanged looks. "This is unfortunate," said Zex. "All species benefit from our guidance. You would be making a serious mistake to refuse." "Nevertheless," said John, stepping forward, "we must decline those terms." The journey back to the Defiance was tense. As they prepared to depart for Earth, Samantha couldn't shake her feeling of dread. "They didn't take that well," she said quietly to John. "No," he agreed. "I think we—" The alarm cut him off. On the view screen, 3 smaller Xorlani ships detached from the mothership and shot toward Earth. "Full speed home," John shouted, and warned Earth Command. But they were too late. Before the Defiance even reached Earth orbit, bright flashes lit up the planet below. Beijing, Mumbai, and Rio de Janeiro were gone in seconds, vaporized by Xorlani weapons. As Earth reeled in shock, the message came through on all channels. "You have 24 hours to reconsider our generous offer. This was merely a demonstration. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. You will submit, or we will erase your species from existence." Earth's war for survival had begun.